All I'm saying is that it's not Britney Spears' Blackout album. It's good. It's just not the best. Anyway, didn't you want me to come over here to actually talk about something important? Right. You need to stop doing that. Being self deprecating and pitying yourself and sabotaging yourself in every single situation that you find yourself in or create for yourself. Not saying that when people are treating you badly, you deserve it or you made those circumstances. Sometimes it can be a little complicated and messy, and there's some like enabling on all accounts. I'm not saying that that also is not true and isn't a possibility and has not never happened. However, even when you're like recounting the circumstances or the situation or how you're feeling about it, like you're allowed to feel bad about something without making those feelings, like even if you're like wanting to be like, these are insecurities that I'm feeling, like you don't have to be like, these are truths about myself, these don't have to be like how you see yourself or how you like always do this or everything's always like this or it always turns out like this. You are continuously like perpetuating these perceptions of how poorly you think of yourself, and as your best friend it is exhausting to watch. It is just, I hate seeing you be mean to yourself or talk about yourself like this. Look at me. Do I look like somebody who would be friends with someone who is not up to like my standards in terms of like being a good person, having important values, having good taste in things, knowing how to style or care for themselves in the ways that make them feel good? Like these are things that you are capable of. You are capable of like way beyond just like these honestly pretty basic things, but like there are so many levels, and it's irritating, to be honest, seeing the ways that you will continuously like take away your own accomplishments, things that you've done, the way that you will literally forget like all of the absolutely amazing, cool shit that you've done in your life. Places that you've gone, situations that you overcome, like energy that you've like like art that you've made, things that you've created, like ways that you've taken care of people, ways that you've grown as a person, like ways that you have reframed things for yourself, the ways that you show up in spaces. Like literally there are so many ways that you have like changed people's lives and how they think about things. Like your kindness literally like is a beacon of like how people like, you've made it so that people love themselves better. You've made it so that people people will have like language to like survive shit. Like your kindness has done that for people. Like the art that you've done, the things that you say, the things that you care about. Like, literally, I just need you to step back a little bit and stop comparing yourself to other people. Everybody has different skill sets for different reasons. There's no way for one person to be good at absolutely everything. A lot of people project or like have the confidence of like, I own all of this shit, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm good at everything, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that is how they want to carry themselves, fine. Just because you see somebody being very good at or very skilled at or very like, this is my brand, this is what I'm good at, this is what where I'm flourishing, it's possible, allowed for somebody to be successful and feeling good about things, even in this time where everything is like a mess, honestly. um Probably not everything is amazing for everybody or really anyone, but who knows? There are people in this world who are like capitalizing off of and exploiting other people all of the time, even in times where everything, and maybe probably especially during times where everything is really, really horrible. That all being said, you, it does not have to be, and you do not have to be a person that buys into or continues to like dig into that sort of scarcity mindset of like, somebody else being good at this thing means that I'm really bad at that thing or all of the things that I do. And even when it's like coming from insecurity spaces of like not feeling valuable enough in terms of like how you're like perceived or like seen by other people, even if it's not like a thing that you produce or thing that you do or like ways that you're trying to value or like judge yourself as a person, which is also not like a really healthy, good way to see who you are or what you're about or like think of yourself or your life as being valuable. Just saying, even if you are trying to measure yourself up like that, there are so many ways and so many things that you do that are like effervescent, literally transformational, life changing. Like the people whose lives you have touched with your kindness, with your love, even with your messiness and with your growth. Like, there's so many levels to being a human being on this planet, and owning up to growing or changing how you think about things, or like there are so many ways that in your trajectory of life you've made things shift for other people. You're literally the like one of the most creative, like deeply, deeply kind people that I know. Even if and even when like there's also like other aspects to you like that are silly or snarky or like even like mean for like just being silly reasons. Like, you and your life are so worth like all of it. Like your existence is magical, even when you don't feel like it or you can't see it. I'm so tired of you like literally like erasing, invisibilizing, like all of the labor that you do constantly for people that you love and care about, for people that you know and don't know, even when you aren't doing things in service to others, which you do constantly, and is also like part of it too, is like you don't need to be doing that for your life to be like valuable or worthwhile. Like that's like your existence in and of itself, like you're allowed to exist without feeling like you have an obligation or duty to other people, but also it's really sad to see how much you'll literally just not care about or like literally forget like all of the beautiful, amazing, like miraculous things that you do constantly. We hate to see it. We really do. I no more of it. Like honestly, I'm tired. You do not deserve it, and I do not deserve to hear it because I will not hear or hold space for anybody talking about my best friend like that. I'm just not. I do not care if it is my best friend themselves. It does not matter. You are not your appearance at all times. You're not. Like, feeling gross or ugly is allowed and valid, but that's not who you are or that's not the real you. Like, there are like different aspects to how we express ourselves or how we look or exist. That is what it is in this like physical existence, in this realm, in this on this earth. Sometimes you don't always feel cute. It does not mean that you aren't always cute. You know what I mean? Like, just because you don't feel productive or like you're not doing anything creative or important doesn't mean that you aren't those things or that you haven't done those things or that you don't have the capacity to continue doing those things. But also doing those things doesn't aren't like it doesn't make you or your existence worthwhile. It does not, like, you do not have to be doing things constantly or like showing up in ways that feel impressive or like you're constantly succeeding to be allowed to exist or to be allowed to like feel good about your existence or to be allowed to feel good about taking time or space for yourself or doing nice things for yourself. Like, you don't have to do extra labor to be nice to yourself or be kind to yourself or like listen to what your body or brain needs. Like, that's we are tired of seeing we're tired of seeing it. Like, just the ways that you will continue to like overwork yourself and just it's not sustainable. It's not kind to yourself. And like, even though you feel like you're doing it in service to like other people or like building up yourself or like growing or being a better person, like if it feels like self-flagellation or like it feels like you're burning yourself out and it's not sustainable, you're gonna like it's gonna be really hard for you. It will have to be something that you will have to take time to recover from. And it makes it harder for you to like engage in general. And then in the end, you will still continuously like beat yourself up over things. Like, obviously, you did not create this mentality, and don't want you to feel like you need to hold the blame for like why it exists. But like, you and your life are so worth it. There are so many things that you can get up to, and so many like interests that only you will be able to engage in the ways that you engage things. The like the ways that you see things, the ways that you like talk to people or understand anything. There's only like that perspective is so special and important. The ways that you and like the ways and connections that you have, the people that you're connected to, the ideas that you're connected to, the life that you're connected to, like the gifts that you have, the skills that you have, the talents that you have, and the ways that those things can grow and shape and develop and seed and start over. Like, there are so many wonderful, beautiful things about you and your life that you are not seeing and have not seen yet. And I'm tired of you giving up on yourself constantly. I know it's exhausting. I know everything is tiring and hard. And you are allowed to validate the hell out of all of those feelings. You're allowed to validate that it feels and you're feeling really unmotivated and it just feels like there's nothing, and or that you're feeling really numb or bad. But it's not like inherently like a truth about yourself. When you start talking badly about yourself or feeling like everything in your life is negative, you've never done anything good with it, you are constantly stuck in this space where you're never like, all of that shit is just not true. It's just not. It really, like, objectively, if we make a timeline of your life and things that you've done, even like, even when it's like you're having like a really burnouty like episode, and like all you can do, like, remember that time when you first moved out, like literally like the only things that you could do were like get out of bed and write. You didn't shower for like weeks and weeks and weeks on end, and you were so like not feeling any support or like being really isolated, and like you literally could only like make yourself like make one meal a day and write and hole yourself up in your room. Like, even that, like, surviving burnout like that, it doesn't have to be glamorous, you know? Like, that is a strength that is like, people don't even know how to talk about it. People don't know how to talk about it without making like jokes about depression, or how like how it's almost like people will make fun of how unmotivated or sad or like broken people are. And depression isn't even like the worst of how people will see or talk about or frame like mental illnesses. That all aside, like, a big part of it too is like, people should not have to be like strong enough to handle or like get over or like get through burnout, or like, all of these things are supposed to be happening like in community. People are supposed to have support. Like people should like everybody should have access to like therapy that is like actually competent and isn't like racist and queerphobic and horrible. And it's just like even in general it's just like not like has just a really bad framing and understanding of like how brains work or what is actually healthy. Anyway, but like the ways that you've had to like care for yourself or be there for yourself in times where there was just it felt like there was nothing, you know? Like even that is like amazing. Like the fact that you are still here with me and that you have continued to like like breathe like love and life into so many people's like understandings of themselves, like the amount of like work and internal like growth that you've done and like helped other people do, like given other people language to, like it's literally there is no like way to like truly quantify how much you've touched people's lives and changed people's lives or like in all of the ways that you engage with the world or other people or relationships that you have. Like you're such a good friend, and it's not like a duty thing that you have to do or like something that you have to live up to. Like you like continuously like pour love in so many places, and to see you beat yourself up is really really like it makes like it's not that it doesn't like make sense that given the ways that you've been treated before or like mentalities or framings of like doing things or like ways people talk about themselves or talk about each other or like it makes sense when people like compare themselves or feel bad about themselves because there's so many like ways that and unhealthy ways that like capitalism or like white supremacy or like all of the different ways that like expectations and pressures and status and like being perceived and like all of these various like hierarchies that like don't actually need to exist for humanity to like work are there and are huge social pressures. Like it makes sense that people feel bad, but it's not even like in any way like an objective or real or like meaningful or good or healthy way to look at yourself or your life, and it like really severely discounts so many wonderful unquantifiable beautiful things that you've already done, continue to do, continue to grow from and move into. Like life can be so much. I know that. You know that. But there's also so many wonderful, beautiful things that have yet to happen that will like that both of us like have no conception of like how things are going to turn out or how things will shift. Like even when you're feeling your lowest, there's parts of your mentality that are so like special and valuable. And like sometimes when you capture things in writing or pictures, like or like music that you're listening to, even when you're feeling really low, like you can sort of like emotionally or mentally time travel back to that place. And sometimes like you'll find and tap into like so many like beautiful ways that you're thinking about life, or like even if the ways that you're not thinking about life feel like meaningful or good for you, like seeing the ways that you've grown from that person, or like now you have compassion for that person, or now you've seen the ways that you moved out of that situation, or things have shifted, like really truly shifted. Sometimes it can feel like things have always been the same when you're in a space where you're feeling and like really beating down on yourself, but there are so many things that are constantly shifting and changing, and it's hard to get out of that space mentally. But I believe in you and believe in your capacity, and I do not know how better to tell you or push you into knowing, feeling it, and thinking it. And sometimes it can really, really help to just get out of like the space that you're in, like the physical space that you're in, where you're like brewing up all of these thoughts, finding somewhere different to be. Obviously, in this time, being safe about it, wearing masks, or like getting tested, or taking like social distancing measures, or whatever that needs to happen. And it's important, but just like getting outside, maybe somewhere where there's a lot of space where you can be. I know it's rough. I have definitely, I know it's hard to imagine, but I also have been really going through things. But I want you to know that I love and care about you, and the ways that you're looking and seeing yourself and blaming yourself for the way that things are, or the way things are feeling for you, just are wrong. They're not right. It's not like you are not the source of all of your misery. You're not. These feelings did not happen in a vacuum. You were told these things or learned these things. These things were implied implicitly or explicitly. They don't have to be, it's like important and good to like recognize them for what they are, and recognize that they can like materially and immaterially like really harm people and how they think about themselves, but like it does not have to be something that you accept as like real truths about yourself or who you are, or like whether or not you matter, or whether or not you deserve to exist. And just like hearing all of that is really hard for me, because I care about you and I see how wrong and untrue those things are. Anyway, do you want to come walk my dog with me? I think getting outside a little bit will help. Do you need a mask? Yeah, I have extras. Let's go.